You know, betrayal doesn't always arrive like a thunderstorm. Sometimes, it sneaks in like a notification. One soft ping that echoes louder than a gunshot. It was a Thursday, regular day. I was sipping my evening coffee, black, as bitter as the marriage had quietly become, while sorting through a dull spreadsheet for work. Monica, my wife of 7 years, had just left for a girls' night. The kind that somehow never included any girls I'd ever met. I watched her walk out the door like I always did. Tight jeans, new perfume, and a silence that had replaced our jokes. She didn't kiss me goodbye anymore. Just grabbed her bag, smiled like someone on their way to freedom, and said, "Don't wait up." But I didn't expect anything unusual. Not until I flipped open my laptop to queue up an old documentary, something boring enough to distract me from the sinking feeling I'd been ignoring for months. That's when it happened. Telegram web. Still logged in. Still open. Still hers. At first, I didn't even notice it. The window was minimized, hiding quietly in the background like a guilty conscience. But then, a message popped up. From a guy saved as M. Blue Heart. Cute. Can't wait for tomorrow. I miss your lips already. Then a photo. Her. Lingerie I'd never seen before. Mirror selfie. The caption? For your eyes only, beloved face blowing a kiss. I didn't scream. Didn't slam anything. Didn't even blink. My heart was sprinting, but my face? Stone cold. Instead, I scrolled. More messages. Plans. Memories. Inside jokes I'd never heard before. A running commentary of my irrelevance. Mark doesn't get me the way you do. He's so safe. I feel alive with you. Wish I could wake up next to you forever. You want to talk about watching your life break apart in real time? Try seeing someone refer to your house, as a temporary phase. Still, I didn't reply. Didn't out myself. I just clicked the message bar, leaned back, and typed one sentence. No drama. No all caps rage. Don't forget to take your things to the one you call beloved. Then I logged out, closed the laptop, and sat in silence, staring into the dark screen like it might explain how I'd missed all this while standing 3 feet away. I didn't cry. Men like me don't. We absorb. We observe. And when it's time, we act. And trust me, I had a plan. Monica came home late that night. 1:17 a.m., to be exact. You ever seen someone trying to act casual when they're too happy? That fake yawn, the slightly too bouncy steps? She walked in like someone who had just won something and didn't want the loser to notice. Set her purse down, kicked off her shoes. Hummed. She walked into the kitchen, where I was sitting with a book I wasn't reading and a glass of scotch I hadn't touched. Still up? She asked, her voice light. A little too light. Yeah, I said without looking up. Hard to sleep. No mention of the message. She didn't check her phone. She thought she was still ahead. Still in control. She poured herself some water like everything was fine. And here's the kicker. She sat down across from me and smiled. Like she pitied me. Like she knew I knew, but figured I didn't have the guts to do anything about it. Then she said, "We should go hiking this weekend." Hiking. This woman just emotionally moved out of our marriage and wanted to hike like nothing happened. I nodded slowly. Sure. Let's make it a memorable trip. She raised her eyebrows. That sounded kind of ominous. I smiled. Just tired. Maybe I'll turn in early. And I did. But not to sleep. In the guest room, my new base of operations, I opened my laptop and started downloading everything. Every screenshot. Every message. I wasn't just planning revenge. I was laying foundation. You see, when someone betrays you and assumes you're too broken to do anything, they get careless. And Monica? She was getting reckless. I checked her location history. You'd be amazed what sinks to the cloud when someone forgets their digital hygiene. Turns out, her little beloved wasn't just a fling. He was an amateur poet with a LinkedIn profile and a condo 2 towns over. I know this because he texted her. Can't wait for you to see the sunrise from my balcony. Might even write about it. I had half a mind to reply, please don't. The world doesn't need more bad poetry. But no, I wasn't ready to reveal myself. Not yet. Instead, I printed everything. Put it all in a slim black folder. Labeled it, Beloved, Exhibit A. The next morning, I made breakfast like nothing was wrong. Eggs, toast, coffee, classic husband routine. She walked in, still scrolling her phone like a teenager pretending she wasn't up to anything. Smells good, she said, leaning against the counter. Her robe barely tied. Her eyes? Still smug. I placed the plate in front of her and said, eat up. Big day tomorrow. She blinked. What's tomorrow? I sipped my coffee. You'll see. Because tomorrow? That's when the walls would start to close in. The thing about planning revenge is you need to be precise. Not loud, not fast, but precise. It's not about catching them in the act. It's about watching them trip over the lie they told themselves. The next morning, I handed Monica a little manila envelope over breakfast. What's this? She asked, picking at her toast. Your packing list, I said. For the weekend. She opened it. Inside, 2 printed airline tickets, first class, 2 nights at a mountain lodge. Romantic, remote, scenic. Wow, she said, blinking. What's the occasion? I smiled. Just felt like we could use some quality time. What she didn't know, the lodge reservation was under my name, but her guest had already been invited. That's right. I made a dummy account, Mountain Dreams 84, and messaged her precious, beloved 2 days earlier. Posed as her. Told him I had a plan. Told him to surprise me at the lodge Saturday night. Bring wine. Bring energy. And of course, he agreed. Because of course he did. Friday morning, we drove up together. Just her and me, on winding roads through pine trees and silence. She played her usual Spotify playlist, Chill Love Vibes, which felt like hearing a eulogy set to ukulele. Smells like pine enclosure. I joked. She laughed, not realizing how true that was. We got there late afternoon. Gorgeous place. Fireplace. Oversized tub. King bed with a view. Monica was floating in the moment like she'd won the lottery and forgotten to check the expiration date on the ticket. This is amazing, she said, wrapping her arms around me. Thank you. I looked at her, really looked at her, and replied, You're welcome, beloved. Her smile froze for just a second. She brushed it off. Saturday was uneventful. I made it that way on purpose. Just long walks, deep talks, fake intimacy, a dress rehearsal for something she didn't realize was opening night. I checked the time. 6:42 p.m. He'd be here soon. You mind if I take a bath? She asked. That hike destroyed my legs. Go for it, I said. I'll set up the wine and the music. She slipped into the bathroom. I grabbed my phone, opened the camera app, hit record. Then I walked to the front door and opened it. There he was, 30-something, cologne-drenched, hair gelled like he was starring in a low-budget fragrance commercial. Is she here? He grinned. I stepped aside. Oh yeah, she's here. He walked in, wine bottle in hand, bouquet tucked under one arm. And I watched the realization crawl across his face the second he saw me not leaving. Wait, what's going on? He asked, suddenly unsure of his role in the script. I gestured to the couch. Take a seat. This is going to be memorable. Then I called out to Monica. Hey babe, your beloved is early. The sound of glass breaking in the bathroom told me she'd figured it out. The silence that followed was rich. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring and your skin itch. The kind you only get right before a storm or right after a very, very dumb man walks into the lion's den wearing cologne called Invincible. She stepped out of the bathroom like she'd rehearsed for this. Wet hair, towel wrapped. That confused face actors wear when the script changes without warning. He stood. Monica. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then, in classic Monica fashion, she pivoted to offense. Always her move. What the hell is this? I folded my arms. This? I nodded toward Loverboy. This is the man who sends you hearts and poems and mirror selfies at 2 a.m. Though I have to say, his metaphors are weak. Comparing your love to a wildfire was cute. Until he used the exact same line on a yoga influencer in May. Monica looked at him. He blinked. Wait, what? That's not true. Oh, it's true, I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. I got screenshots, timestamps, and a photo of you with Ashley from Boulder, kissing on the exact same balcony you invited Monica to last weekend. Are you serious? She snapped at him. He stepped back, arms raised. You're cheating on your husband, and I'm the bad guy. Oh, you were always the bad guy, I said calmly. You just didn't know you were auditioning for it. Monica turned red, then pale, then something in between. She dropped the towel of decency completely. So what? You planned this? You tricked me. No, Monica. I let you. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water. You left the door open. I just walked through it. Telegram web. Rookie move. You forgot to log out on my laptop. That was your first mistake. Her eyes narrowed. You've been spying on me. Spying? I laughed. No. Spying is sneaky. I watched openly. I studied. I listened. You just didn't notice because you were too busy creating a romance novel with a part-time poet who still lives with his cousin. Dude, he started. Nope, I cut him off. You don't get a voice in this. You're an extra. A plot device. A poorly written character in a story about a woman who wanted more without asking if she deserved it. Monica picked up her phone. I'm leaving. This is insane. Not yet, I said, pulling a black folder from the drawer. You'll want to look at this first. She hesitated, then flipped it open. Inside, every printed message, every calendar overlap, every flirty little message sent on our anniversary, Valentine's Day, the night after my mom's surgery. Every lie, curated, sorted, numbered. She slammed the folder shut. What do you want from me? I wanted the truth, I said quietly. You gave me poetry and perfume samples instead. Loverboy spoke again, like he hadn't learned his lesson. This is over the top, man. I didn't sign up for. You signed up the second you sent her that picture in the hot tub, I said flatly. By the way, your tattoo? Not as subtle as you think. Your grandma's birthday is searchable. Monica shot him a glare that could sand wood. I should go, he muttered, taking a step toward the door. No, I said, blocking his path. You stay until I'm done. You owe me 10 minutes. What do you want? He asked nervously. I want you both to see the consequences. They stared at me, still not getting it. So I spelled it out. Monica, I began. You've got 48 hours to move out of my house. I've already had the locks changed back home. Your things are boxed and in the garage. Oh, and I canceled your gym membership. The one you only started after you met Romeo here. Her jaw dropped. You can't do that. I can. I did. And the joint account? Closed. Your car? Leased in my name. I reported it as misused. It's being picked up tomorrow. She started shaking. You're being cruel. No, I said. I'm being precise. You call me boring. Predictable. A man who folds his socks. Turns out, I fold everything. Evidence, timelines, endings. I turned to Loverboy. As for you, I sent everything to your girlfriend. His face froze. What? Yeah, Jessica, right? Sweet girl. Deserves better. She should get the chance to pick whether she wants to stay with a guy who recycles love notes like fast food napkins. You bastard. No, I said, holding up a finger. That's you. I'm just the narrator. He tried to say something else, but Monica cut him off this time. Get out, she said. Both of you. You don't live here, Monica, I said, already grabbing my bag. This was my reservation. You just showed up for your own funeral. On the drive home, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Clarity. The storm had hit. The dust was settling. I wasn't a victim. I was the architect of her reckoning. I didn't destroy her life. She handed me the hammer and asked if I wanted to swing. And I did. You know what's funny? After all that, after the confrontation, the folder, the open door humiliation, Monica still thought she could manage the fallout. She thought this would be like one of her old temp jobs. Blow up the office, smile during your exit interview, and land somewhere new by the following Monday. She always had a way of slipping out of consequence like a silk ribbon from a knot. But this time, there was no soft landing, because I wasn't finished. Not by a mile. When I got home from the cabin, I did something petty, quiet, deliberate. I uploaded the evidence. Not to the internet. I'm not that guy, but I did share it with everyone who thought they knew her. Our friends, her family, our coworkers, the group chat from her yoga class, even her favorite wine club, which, yes, had a very active members-only Facebook page. Each one got a neat little folder titled, "In case you're wondering why Monica and I are no longer together." Inside, screenshots, calendar entries, photos of beloved sipping coffee shirtless in my kitchen the day I was out of town for a funeral. No captions, no commentary, just the facts. The responses started slow. A few read receipts. A few dots bouncing in text threads that never quite became messages. But then it hit critical mass. The first call came from our mutual friend Lisa. "Mark," she whispered. I had no idea. "I know," I said. "Neither did I." The next was her brother, James. "I'm sorry, man," he said. "I never liked that guy. I should have said something." "It's okay," I told him. "You weren't the one kissing her on the balcony." The messages rolled in. Shock. Sympathy. A few awkward silences from the people who had likely known and kept their heads down. But that was fine. I wasn't looking for validation. I was just making sure the truth lived somewhere permanent. 3 days after the cabin incident, Monica called me. I let it ring. Let her leave a voicemail. She didn't disappoint. Mark, I don't know what you've done, but people are talking. My boss asked if everything was okay at home. What did you send them? What the hell is wrong with you? I played it twice. Once to process it. Again to enjoy it. It always amazed me. The ease with which she twisted things. Like somehow I was the chaos. Like I had created this tidal wave by simply pointing to the flood she started. But I didn't respond. Not yet. Instead, I focused on the final stage, the one place she couldn't spin it. Work. See, Monica had built her whole identity around professionalism. PowerPoint polished, blazer-wearing, motivational quote-posting Monica. Her company's golden girl. The dependable one. So when I dropped a package on the desk of her firm's HR director, well, let's just say it was complete. Photos. Dates. Her work calendar cross-referenced with time-stamped messages, including one from a weekday at 11:34 a.m. that read, "Just left the meeting early. Mark thinks I'm on a call. Heading over now. Leave the door unlocked, face blowing a kiss." The HR director? She didn't say much. Just gave me a long look, thanked me, and told me they'd review the situation thoroughly. I didn't care whether they fired her. I just wanted them to know who they were promoting. A week later, I ran into Monica by accident. Grocery store. She was holding a carton of oat milk and wearing sunglasses indoors like she was hiding from the paparazzi. She saw me, froze, then, surprisingly, walked over. "Really?" she asked, voice low and sharp. "You had to torch my life?" "No," I said. "I had to tell the truth." "It torched itself." "You embarrassed me," she hissed. "You humiliated me first," I replied. "I just made it public. Fair trade." She looked tired, paler, hair tied back in a sloppy bun instead of her usual salon wave. She looked less like the storm that had torn through my life, and more like someone trying to stand in the wreckage and pretend the wind hadn't touched her. "I lost my job," she admitted, softer now. "I didn't ask them to fire you," I said. "I gave them information. They made a decision." Her eyes flashed. "You enjoyed this." I shrugged. "No, but I enjoyed not being your fool anymore." She didn't reply, just stared at me like she wanted to say something she couldn't quite frame into a sentence. Then she walked away, leaving her oat milk behind. Later that night, I got a final message. "I made mistakes, but you made sure I'd never recover. I hope that helps you sleep." I read it once, then deleted it. Because here's the truth. I do sleep. Not because I got revenge, but because I didn't yell, didn't grovel, didn't beg. I watched. I planned. I acted. She expected drama. Fireworks. Theatrical betrayal. What she got instead was a controlled demolition, quiet, methodical, and absolutely unrecoverable. The strangest part of moving on is how boring it feels. No grand finale. No triumphant music. Just a slow return to stillness, like watching waves flatten after a shipwreck. Except you're still soaking wet, holding a broken compass, wondering where the hell the land even is. I wasn't sad. Not exactly. I was just empty, and I'd forgotten what that felt like. The house was quiet now, peaceful in that way that felt both holy and haunted. Monica's perfume had finally faded from the furniture. Her yoga mat had been donated. Her framed quotes, "Don't chase love, attract it," were boxed and gathering dust in my garage next to her college yearbooks and a candle labeled Goddess Energy. The goddess had been evicted. I'd started sleeping in the middle of the bed again. Not out of choice, just force of habit broken. At first, I still left the right side empty. Some weird subconscious tribute, I guess. But one night, I rolled over. And when nothing cold greeted me, I realized I was allowed to take up space again. And so I did. I'd also started going to the gym again. Not for revenge fitness, not to become some shredded statue of post-divorce rebirth. Just for me. To feel capable again. To sweat out the residue of that woman's lies. There's a special kind of therapy in lifting something heavy and knowing it'll never lie to you. The regulars at the gym were quiet types. Headphones in, eyes down. Nobody cared who you were or what your past smelled like. One of them, a guy named Vince, nodded to me each morning. Never spoke until one day he pointed at my shirt and said, "You always wear black." I shrugged. Easier than matching things. He grinned. Easier doesn't mean better. Didn't know if he meant shirts or life. Either way, he had a point. A few weeks passed, and things started to unfreeze. I picked up old hobbies I'd let wither under Monica's constructive feedback. Woodworking, too dusty. My weekend chess games, too nerdy. My short story blog, Nobody reads blogs anymore, Mark. Well, now I had a garage full of dust, a new yellow rating, and over 8,000 monthly readers. Thank you very much. Funny how creativity crawls out of the cracks heartbreak leaves behind. Then came the text. Not from Monica. From a number I didn't recognize. Hey, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I saw your story. I used to be friends with Monica. I just wanted to say thank you for showing us who she really was. Attached was a screenshot of a group chat, Monica's book club. Turns out, I had become a topic. There were messages like, "Did you hear what Mark did?" Honestly, respect. If a man ever did that to me, I'd fold like a lawn chair. She always had that fake sweet thing going. Glad someone called her out. I didn't reply, just read it once. Then again, not because I needed validation, but because I needed to see it wasn't all in my head. That the quiet truth I had carried for months had finally echoed somewhere besides my own walls. The next shift came subtle. A cashier at the grocery store remembered my name. My dry cleaner asked if I was doing better. Even my old barber, who once shaved in total silence, said, "You look lighter." And maybe I was. Not in weight. In weight. Because here's the thing. When you're with someone who constantly needs to feel alive, they'll slowly suffocate you to do it. They'll poke at you, twist you, shape you into some reliable wallpaper while they search for neon. Then one day, you wake up and realize you became invisible just to be loved. But not anymore. I wasn't wallpaper. I wasn't background. I was the damn foundation. Then something happened I didn't expect. Monica's sister emailed me. Not a text. Not a DM. A full old-school email. Subject line, "Just wanted to say something." Inside, "Mark, you don't owe me a response. I just want to say I'm sorry. I knew something was off, and I never said a word. I thought it wasn't my place, or that she'd stop. But you didn't deserve that. You were always good to her. I hope you're okay. Laura." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I replied. Just one sentence. "Thank you for saying what she never did." That was it. No drama. No bitterness. Just acknowledgement. Sometimes closure doesn't come from the person who breaks you. Sometimes it comes from the people who watched and finally found the guts to speak. And that brings us to now. A rainy Tuesday. Cup of coffee in hand. My new dog. Yes, dog, asleep at my feet. Adopted him last week. Name's Ranger. Loyal, clumsy, and already smarter than Monica's beloved. I'm sitting at the desk where, not too long ago, I discovered everything. The telegram messages. The hearts. The betrayal. But that desk's not haunted anymore. It's mine again. The screen doesn't show Monica's lies anymore. It shows my next story draft. A short piece titled, "The Man Who Watched Her Leave and Didn't Follow." Because I didn't. I stayed. Then I rebuilt. It started with a coffee stain. I was thumbing through a used copy of The Old Man and the Sea at a local bookstore. One of those cozy little shops that smell like paper and second chances, when a woman's voice behind me said, "That's a heavy read for a Tuesday." I turned. She was standing there, holding a coffee cup with a fresh drip on the rim. Big scarf, hair tucked behind her ears, eyes that looked like they'd seen some storms too. I smiled. Heavy reads are kind of my thing. She laughed. "Divorced or heartbroken?" "Recently freed." "You." "Ditto." That's how I met Natalie. We didn't exchange numbers. Not yet. We just talked. About books, bad endings, unexpected beginnings. I mentioned I was writing again. She said she painted. I told her I liked people who created. She said she liked people who didn't pretend to be fine. Then she left, but not before saying, "Maybe I'll see you here next week, Hemingway." I did come back the next week. And she did too. Natalie didn't ask about Monica. She didn't need to. She could read it in the way I hesitated before answering questions, in the quiet sighs I gave when people said the word trust. Instead of prying, she asked questions like, "Do you believe in starting over? Do you think grief always needs an audience?" And my favorite, "What would you write if no one ever got to read it?" We didn't fall into each other fast. This wasn't rebound. This wasn't revenge. It was real, gradual, honest. I told her about the cabin, about the folder, about the phrase, "Don't forget to take your things to the one you call beloved." She grinned. "That's brutal." "I love it." She said it like someone who wasn't scared of damaged people, as if some of the best ones are. I asked her, "You ever been cheated on?" She nodded. "Once." He said I wasn't passionate enough. Turns out, I just wasn't dramatic. I replied, "Drama's overrated. Peace is better." That night, She kissed me on the cheek and said, "Exactly." 2 months later, Monica tried again. A handwritten letter in my mailbox. Cream envelope. No return address. Inside, Mark, I've had time to think. About us. About everything. I wasn't fair to you. I've been trying to fill a void I didn't even understand. You were always steady. Strong. But I took that as stagnant. You didn't deserve how I treated you. I've started therapy. If there's ever room to talk, just to talk, I'd like to. I hope you're well. M. I read it twice. Then I folded it, slid it into a box labeled Dead Ends, and put it on the shelf next to my old tax receipts and user manuals for things I no longer own. I didn't feel angry or vindicated. I felt done. And done is a wonderful thing to feel. Months passed. Natalie became less of a surprise and more of a presence. We had our routines. Sunday walks. Tuesday bookstore runs. Friday dinners at her place with too much garlic and old records playing softly. She never asked me to forget what happened. She just made it easy to remember who I was before it did. One morning, over coffee, I got an idea. I pulled up Monica's old Telegram account. It was still linked. Her password hadn't changed. I didn't snoop. I just typed one message to her, "Beloved, you can have her, but she can't have me back. Ever." Then I logged out. For good. Later that day, I took the last copy of the folder, the one in my desk drawer, and burned it in the fireplace. That evening, Natalie noticed the faint smell of smoke and asked what I was burning. "Dead weight," I said. She nodded. "Smells like closure." And that, my friend, is how it ended. Not with yelling. Not with a breakdown. Not with Monica sobbing in the rain. It ended in quiet. In rebuilding. In a woman with pain on her hands and no interest in pretending. And me? I sleep in the middle of the bed now. I write without apology. I fold my socks because I want to. And every now and then, I walk past that old photo frame that used to hold a hidden camera, and I smile. Because she expected me to break. But all I did was begin.